Hi, I'm Derek, and what you've just heard was a short solo based on the linear drumming concept. And the linear drumming concept was invented by the great Gary Chaffee. And he was one of the greatest drum teacher at Berklee College of Music, and he's also an amazing musician and drummer. And you have to listen to the podcast episode by Vinnie Colaiuta. It's called Breakfast with Vinnie. And he does an interview with Gary Chaffee also about the linear drumming. And it's the rest is also very interesting. I recommend it. So let's get started with the linear drumming concept. So the first step is to learn the basic partials or building blocks, okay? And the first building block consists of 3 notes. So you play a right hand, a left hand, and then the third stroke is a kick or bass drum. I will play it in a loop, and then of course it sounds more like a triplet, but all the building blocks, figures or partials are in the beginning not meant to be played or heard in a specific subdivision or rhythm, okay? But it's a 3-note rhythm, so of course you hear it in the beginning as a triplet or 16th note triplet. So I play the 3-note grouping in a loop. Let's go on with the 4-note grouping, and it's again 2 with your hand, so it's right, left, and 2 with the bass drum. Played in a loop, sounds like 8th notes or 16th notes. The 5-note grouping is 4 strokes with your hand, alternating right, left, and 1 bass drum. Six-note grouping is again 4 notes or 4 strokes with your hand, right, left, but 2 kick or 2 bass drum strokes. In a loop. The 7-note grouping is 6 strokes with your hand, again alternating, starting with the right hand, and the 7th stroke is 1 bass drum. So here it is. In a loop. And the last figure is the 8-note grouping. Again, 6 strokes with your hands and 2 bass drums at the end. So it's also in a loop. Some people also played with a 2-note grouping, so it's a right hand and directly a kick drum or a bass drum, okay? So you have right foot. But let's start with these figures, okay? So in the beginning, try to play these figures on the snare drum, of course in combination with the bass drum, and play them as long as you need until you feel really comfortable, okay? This is very important. So the next step is to choose a rhythm where we apply these rhythms. So Let's start very easy. So we pick a 4/4 measure and 16th note subdivision. So you have in one bar, you have 16 notes. And now here comes the math. What we're now doing is to add different groupings that you come to 16 strokes, okay? And what I teach in the beginning, it's very easy to follow. It's 3 plus 5. So 3 plus 5 is 8. And when you play this twice, then you have 16 strokes or 16 notes in a 4/4 bar. So 3 plus 5 sounds like this. Okay, so this is 3 and 5. Together, so the next step is to add the hi-hat. And the first reason for me to add the hi-hat is that you exactly know where you place the stroke. So I'm playing the hi-hat on quarter notes under this rhythm, okay? And the other thing, of course, is building coordination. And yeah, let's see how it sounds when you play the hi-hat on quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's try another phrase. And let's say we combine 4 times the 3-beat phrase. So we have 4 times 3 equals 12 plus one group of 4 strokes. Okay, so we come up to 16 strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again in a loop. So especially when you play it with a hi-hat, pay really close attention where the hi-hat falls together with a snare drum or bass drum stroke. This is very important that you really know where you are in the measure or where you are in the bar. And yeah, practice this as slow as you need it, that you have the full matrix or the full grid in your mind or in front of your eyes. And also great exercises to count out loud the quarter notes on the hi-hat while you're playing. So with this way, the first step, just go on and write down your own combinations. Okay, so you grab a paper and a pen and you just say out loud some numbers like 7 plus 5, okay, it's 12, and then plus 4, 16. Okay, you write down the 7-note grouping, 5, and the 4-note grouping again, okay? Or what sometimes will happen is that you maybe like 7 plus 5 is 12 and you're adding like a 3, then you come up with it's 15, and then you're adding just one stroke on the snare drum. Okay? But let's go on to the next step and let's orchestrate the rhythms here on the drum set or on the drums. And during my teaching I came up with some fixed orchestrations. This helps in the beginning, that you don't have to improvise in the beginning. And here are the following orchestrations from me, but be invited to come up with your own combinations or your own orchestrations. It's just an idea from me, a good starting point. And yeah, so here is the orchestration for the 3-note grouping. So the 3-note grouping, I play the right hand on the floor tom and the left hand on the small rec tom. So it's okay, so it's in the 4-note grouping, it's the same, staying here on these two drums, but with two kick drums or bass drums. Five-note grouping. I play the 4 strokes with your hand, right, left, bass drum. Okay? Six stroke or 6-note grouping, it's again the same with your hands. I've tried to make it easier in the beginning, that you don't have to think so much. So the 3 and 4, the 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, they have the same orchestrations, but only the bass drum is 1 or 2 strokes. So the 6-stroke or 6-note grouping is the same with your hands, but with 2 kicks. Seven-note grouping is 2 on snare, 2 on the rec tom and 2 on the floor tom. So you have the 6 strokes orchestrated around these 3 drums. So it's okay, so in a loop. And the 8-note grouping, the same with your hands, but 2 bass drums. Also in a loop. So again, learn these orchestrations, and when you feel comfortable, then we are using both combinations from the beginning, so from step 1. And we had this 3 plus 5, and now we are applying the orchestration to this combination or rhythm. Sounds like this. I played a little bit slower in the beginning that you can follow. Yeah, okay. So the 3-note grouping was, and now the 5-note grouping. Now I combine both rhythms. Again. In a loop. Yeah, and when you speed it up just a little bit, then you have a nice drum fill in. should practice the second step, so the orchestrations, again with your hi-hat. Then let's try the 3, 3, 3, 3 and 4 phrase we did in step 1 with this orchestration. So it's 3, again 3, 3, 3 and 4. Together. In a loop. When you're playing this as a drum fill-in, then you're ending with 2 bass drums, and when you want to play the one of the next bar with a bass drum and the crash cymbal, then you have 3 bass drums in a row. And in some speeds, or when it gets faster, it's really hard to play for me. And so what you can do is to adjust the 4-note grouping at the end. So here are some suggestions how you can play the 4-note grouping, that it's easier to play the next one. Okay. So one method is to stay with a double stroke at the end and playing the next one with the snare drum and the crash. This is a little bit uncommon, but some situations maybe it's nice. Okay, so you have another option would be to play the 4-note grouping instead of 2 bass drums with only 1 bass drum at the end, and then you have 3 strokes with your hands. So you play, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can come up with your own or another orchestration. For example, like this. Okay, so you have or another option would be to play no bass drum at all at the end and play only 4 strokes with your hand. So maybe on the snare drum, this creates a lot of power, or you orchestrate it around the drum kit. Okay, so just be creative, and in general this concept is, for me, in my opinion, about creativity. And we're coming now to the next, for me, the most important step of this approach or this system is to improvise with these figures. And this, of course, takes a lot of practice and a lot of time, and I'm still practicing. I would recommend to write down and practice a lot of fixed combinations of the groupings, okay? And in the book of Gary Chaffee and even other linear drum books, there are a lot of combinations written, and you have to practice them. And also, which is also very important, to play over 2 or even 4 bars and phrase over the bar line. And this is also one thing why I like this concept a lot, because you don't think of like tiny or small measures, but you play or you learn to play over the bar line, especially when one group is overlapping from one bar to another. So for example, if you have 2 bars of 16th notes, then you come up with 32 strokes, and write it down. And maybe this is one rule, that the first measure doesn't end with one phrase or grouping, but it's overlapping. So let's say you have 5 plus 6 is 11, and then you play directly a 7. Then you're ending on the next one with this phrase. Okay, just experiment. And yeah, so this brings us again to the improvisation. And what you can do is to start again on the snare drum with the bass drum without the orchestrations, and just play different combinations just by heart, or what comes out. Okay, just play it, and you have to try it. So this is one small example, improvising the groupings on the snare drum with the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the goal is to stay in 2, 4, or even 8 bar phrases, that you exactly know where the one is and in which bar you are or measure you are in the whole structure. This takes some time, but this will give you a lot of freedom to improvise. So the next step is to improvise around the drums. And the fixed orchestrations by myself were only on the 3 drums here, but of course you can orchestrate on the rims, on the bell and cowbell, some percussion instruments, and the hi-hat and anything else. So just again experiment. It takes time, and maybe it's sometimes frustrating, but it's worth, in my opinion. Okay, so here is again a small improvisation with orchestrations improvised. Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this was one example, and the next time it would sound different, of course. Now this sounds a little bit stiff in the beginning, and the next step, what you can do, or what you should do, is add dynamics and just a little bit of speed. Okay, so the next solo is also improvised around the drums with more dynamics and a little bit faster. Okay, so here's the difference, I hope. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think, or maybe this sounded better, not as stiff, or maybe this sounded a little bit more like music, I hope. Maybe for some of you not, but for me it sounded definitely better. And of course you can add some double strokes. Okay, so playing maybe the 3-note phrase as a 5-stroke roll. So playing, instead of right, left, foot, in 16th note, you're doubling the speed or the sticking. So you play right, right, left, left, foot. Okay, I will play just a demonstration with a 3-note grouping. So here's a short solo with double strokes and dynamics. So I just did a few other things, but yeah, okay. This is what happens when you start to improvise, and yeah, you maybe just play a few other concepts or sounds in it, okay? So what the first part of this video was about learning the basic structure and the concept of this system or approach, and playing or opening the first door of it. And for me, the first door to open is to play it as I've showed, as a short drum solo or drum fill-ins. And one other option or another door you can open is to play this concept as drum grooves. And this sounds very interesting because you're leaving out the bass drum most of the time on the one of the bar, and this makes it way more interesting. Yeah? Okay, so let's work again with these two phrases or combinations. When we have this 3-5-3-5 phrase, let's say the orchestration now, a fixed orchestration, is to play the right hand on the hi-hat and the left hand stays on the snare drum. And this is without any dynamics, just the 3-5-3-5 rhythm. Okay. A little bit faster. Okay, so this is the orchestration now for the groove application, in my opinion. And to let it sound as a groove, we are adding dynamics to the left hand. So we are playing a combination of ghost notes, so very soft notes, and accents, and this means for me the backbeat. And with this combination of 3-5, it's easy to start because the left hand is already on the snare drum on this backbeat position on beat number 2 and 4. And I will demonstrate it now, how it sounds when I play dynamically with my left hand on the snare drum. Okay, and then hopefully it will create a groove. A little bit faster. And this, yeah, it's how it can sound. Or you can put the accents or the backbeat position, you can adjust them and play around. Again, be creative. And here you can also add some dynamics. Maybe you've heard it already, so you can play some more accents on the hi-hat or whatever, or you can orchestrate, or you play the right hand on the bell, and or so it sounds like this. Okay, let's see what happens when we play the 4x3 plus the 4-note grouping, what we've done in the beginning. First step, orchestrate or fix orchestration between hi-hat and snare drum. Okay, again. So when we're now adding dynamics to create a groove with a backbeat, so with ghost notes and backbeat or accents in your left hand, then let's have a closer look to the end of the phrase, the 4-note grouping. And I will show you what happens, and then we will hopefully solve the problem, okay? So the right hand is on the hi-hat, and this would be the typical backbeat position, so beat number 4. So what we can do is to move the right hand from the hi-hat and play it instead on the hi-hat on the snare drum. Then you have a backbeat on beat 2 and 4. But we can also play a backbeat on the second 16th note of the 4-note grouping with your left hand. Then you have a different sound or a different groove. Sounds like this. So again, here you have some choices and just be creative. And again, this is one thing the whole concept is about for me. To be creative. Find different sounds, voices, orchestrations, whatever. Double strokes, maybe hi-hat openings, and yeah. So this is it for today or for this lesson, and I hope you got a lot of informations from this video, and let me know again in the comments what you think about it. It's an older concept, so there are a lot of videos here on YouTube, but this is my approach, how you build it step by step with these fixed orchestrations and so on, with these two ways, with the groove and the drum fill-in, drum solo, etc, etc. Okay? Just let me know what you think about the concept or my approach, and I will close the video just playing a short solo with this method, maybe some other stuff, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscription and so on and on and on. So have fun and see you next time. Bye.